All right, so this is top secret information. It's the test review. Study it, and once you're through, eat this computer screen. Don't really eat the computer screen. So for test one, you need to know what a definition of political science is, which is a study of government and politics. You need to know what political culture is. It's those sort of widely shared beliefs about people in politics. We'll talk about the three types of them later on. You should know the core values of America, which include liberty, individualism, and equality, and self-government. You should know what equality means, just right out of the textbook. You should know the definition of politics, who gets what, when, and how. You should know what an oligarchy is. You should know what autocracy is. That's autocracy, autocracy. You should know what bipartisanship means, even though that seems sort of rare nowadays. You should know the case of Gideon versus Wainwright, which expanded the right to counsel to poor people. You should have a definition of socialism, since everybody uses it out there in the political sphere and have no clue what it is. You should know what the Stamp Act was. You should know what John Locke was famous for, the social contract, natural rights, government by consent, things of that nature. You should know the Articles of Confederation. We have a lecture about that. You should know Shays' Rebellion. You should know the Virginia Plan. There's a lecture on that. You should know the New Jersey Plan. We have a lecture on that. You should know the Great Compromise. You should know the Three-Fifths Compromise. You should know who Patrick Henry was. He was one of the leading Anti-Federalists, also said, give me liberty or give me death. How many states were necessary to require ratification of the new Constitution? Who were the Federalists and who were the Anti-Federalists? And what were their concerns? Who led the Federalists? You should know how we amend the Constitution and some of the major characteristics of it. You should know who wrote the Federalist Papers. You should know the case of Marbury versus Madison and what that established. You should know what tyranny of the majority means. You should know the 17th Amendment. You should know what a primary election is. You should know who Charles Beard was. You should know a definition of a confederation. You should know a definition of a unitary system. We've covered those in lectures. You should know a definition of federalism. You should know what an enumerated power is. Remember, they're either enumerated, delegated, or expressed. Those are all interchangeable, and I give you a list of those. You should know what states are prohibited from doing. That's in a lecture that I did for you. You should know the Missouri Compromise. That's important to know. You should know what implied powers were and the case that involved McCulloch versus Maryland. You should know the separate but equal doctrine that came out of Plessy versus Ferguson. You should know the Sherman Antitrust Act. It was designed to break up monopolies. You should know the National Labor Relations Act, which gave employees the right of collective bargaining. That's very important. You should know who started the New Deal. That was FDR. Who started the Great Society. That was LBJ. You should know that Theodore Roosevelt was a progressive Republican. And then who came up with the idea of a colorblind constitution. You should know that. And that was Justice John Marshall Harlan. You should know what dual federalism is. We talked briefly about that. You should know what Medicare is. You should know what block grants are. You should know what unfunded mandates are. You should know who John C. Calhoun was. He was a big proponent of nullification. You should know who Alexander Hamilton was. And here's one we did not talk about in class, where on the video lectures, Gibbons versus Ogden. You should know what that was. And then again, I'll have another question about Plessy versus Ferguson. And then you should know who really influenced the Declaration of Independence. And that was, of course, John Locke. So that's the test. So good luck, study hard, and you'll do well. That is all.